The earth trembles. A single flower sways in a windless meadow, its petals luminous, its scent like honey and thunder. A young goddess bends to pluck it, laughter still bright on her lips. And the ground splits open. From the fissure roars a chariot of black horses, eyes like coals, manes whipping smoke. At its reins stands the Lord below. In one heartbeat, innocence is stolen, and a tale of love, power, and the turning of seasons begins. Welcome back to Legends Reborn. Let me guide you into the legend and myth of Persephone and Hades. Persephone, Kor, the maiden, was the daughter of Demeter, keeper of harvests, and Zeus, whose voice was thunder. Where she walked, the grass flushed green. Where she laughed, orchards quickened. Demeter guarded her as if the world's spring were a single flame cupped in her hands. Far beneath, beyond rivers of night, ruled Hades. Not a devil, not a torturer, but a stern god of boundary and law. His kingdom was ordered, silent, absolute. He kept to his realm, seldom seen. Yet when his eyes fell upon Persephone, something in that winter heart broke open. He wanted her, queen, companion, equal in a place where even gods grow lonely. Zeus knew that Demeter would never consent. So, a bargain was whispered in thunder. Gaia, ancient and patient, planted temptation. A narcissus that glowed like a fallen star. One morning, the nymphs turned their heads, and Persephone strayed from the circle of safety. She bent to pluck the flower. The meadow shuddered. A seam tore the earth. The chariot surged upward, and night swallowed the sun. Hades' arm wrapped around her, the reins cracked, and they vanished into the rift. One nymph, Cyane, saw them descend and fled to the mouth of the underworld, pleading for the girl's return. Hades' answer was silence, old and heavy as stone. Cyane wept until her body dissolved into a pool of blue water and became the river that bears her name. Demeter returned to find the meadow quiet as a prayer unspoken. Her daughter's garlands lay crushed in the grass. The nymphs trembled. No one could say where the maiden had gone. Grief changed to fury. Demeter's hands, made to bless barley and vine, became hands of judgment. She cursed the nymphs who had failed. Plumes burst from their shoulders, claws from their feet. Thus were born the sirens, singers of loss. A torch in each hand, Demeter began to wander. She roamed the earth disguised as an old woman, pausing in doorways, questioning farmers, listening to winds. In Eleusis, she sat at a well and did not speak for days. She refused wine, refused laughter. In her absence, the earth dimmed. Wheat heads bent and withered, orchards stilled, milk dried in the udder, and the thin wail of famine rose like smoke. Even the gods felt the chill where mortal prayers used to burn. Zeus heard those prayers fray to nothing. He sent all-seeing Helios to witness the truth, and swift-footed Hermes to carry his decree. The girl must be returned. The messenger slipped past shades and judges, past iron gates and the black poplars of the dead, to where Persephone sat beside a pale stream in a garden lit by flowers that glowed like moonfire. Understand this, the underworld was not only sorrow. Hades had shaped for her avenues of silver stone and bowers of still light. Here, no leaf rustled. Here, time held its breath. He spoke to her without command, without charm, only a grave patience. He showed her the justice of his realm, the way even kings must bow to law when they arrive with empty hands. In that quiet, something fierce awoke in Persephone. Not fear, not docility, but will. She who had been maiden began to glimpse the queen. Yet, choice is a knife that cuts both ways. Hades feared it. If Zeus forced a question, where will you live? What answer would she give? So, he offered a gift, a pomegranate, ruddy as a heart. Old laws are older than the gods. To taste the food of a realm is to be bound to it. Persephone lifted the fruit. Some say she ate 6 seeds, some say 3. Others whisper that she smiled and chose them all. The number matters less than the act. The red juice touched her tongue, and fate sealed with it. Hermes arrived. Zeus commands, he said gently. The world sickens. Your mother cries. Come, Hades did not forbid it. He readied his chariot and set Persephone beside the messenger. As they rose toward the sunlit world, the roots of mountains loosened, and the earth knit itself shut behind them. Demeter saw her child crossing the fields and ran like wind-made flesh. Mother and daughter crashed together, and the torches fell into the grass. Joy shook the world awake. Rivers loosed their ice, grasses lifted their heads, lambs bounded. But when Zeus asked the question, the law answered first. Persephone had eaten of the underworld. She belonged to both worlds now. Demeter's face hardened. If she must descend, she vowed, the earth will go barren in my mourning. Famine would return, humanity would die. Zeus weighed love against survival and forged a compromise. Part of each year with Hades below, part with Demeter above. In many tellings, the seeds set the measure, 6 seeds, 6 months. Others say a third of the year. However you count, the rhythm is the same. When Persephone descends, the earth sleeps and bones remember the cold. When she rises, the fields kindle, and the air tastes like bread just broken. But myths do not live only to explain weather. They map the interior. Persephone is not merely stolen spring. She is transformation itself. The crossing from innocence into agency, from maiden into monarch. Demeter is not only harvest, but the ache of love that cannot keep. And Hades is not a monster under the bed. He is the boundary every life must meet, the rule that says all things return. Hear their voices in the story. Demeter, tell me who took her. The wind answers with empty hands. She lights her torches again. Hades, to the girl who no longer flinches. I will not ask you to forget the sun. But there is light here too, cold, steady, and honest. Persephone, to the man called pitiless. Then let your realm learn mercy, and I will wear its crown. So, the queen of the dead rose. She sat beside the judges where oaths are weighed. Warlords trembled when she looked up from the balance. Lovers, long parted, found her gentler than rumor. In spring she returned to the fields and walked with her mother, and grain bowed as if to a priestess. In autumn, she turned her face toward the gates of night, and the world understood that endings are only another shape of beginning. Why does this myth persist when empires fade? Because it is our pulse. We all descend into grief after a loss, into silence after a failure, into night when daylight grows thin. And then, unexpectedly, sometimes unwillingly, we rise. A new season takes hold of us. We speak differently. We choose differently. The maiden becomes the queen of her choices, of her boundaries, of her life. Some call Hades a thief, a villain cloaked in law. Others call him a lonely god who learned tenderness. Some call Persephone a victim. Others call her by her older names. Despoina, the mistress. Dread Persephone, whose smile can still the heart. Perhaps both readings are true. Love can be possessive and redeeming at once. Power can be cruel and kind in a single day. That ambiguity is the point. The myth does not flatter us, it instructs us. Look again at the pomegranate. It is not only a trick, it is a choice disguised as hunger, a sacrament of belonging. To eat is to say, I will not deny where I have been. Many of us try to return to the light, pretending the dark never touched us. Persephone does not. She rises with red on her lips and says, both worlds are mine. And Demeter? She learns to let go without ceasing to love. Her grief becomes a season, not a sentence. She and her daughter meet on a field lined with poppies. They hold each other and then they part. The world, watching, learns how to do the same. The Eleusinian mysteries would one day carry this story into initiations whispered behind temple doors. Torches burning by night, seeds cupped in the palm, a promise that beyond the terror of descent waits the calm of return. Those who took that path came back changed, less frightened of endings, more careful with beginnings. So when winter leans against your window, when a chapter closes and the next has no words yet, remember the pact struck by gods and kept by the earth. Remember a flower, a rift, a red fruit, a mother with torches, a queen who walks two roads and calls both home? What do you believe? Was Hades a villain or a misunderstood guardian of law? Would Persephone have chosen him without the fruit's bond? Or did the seeds only name a truth she already knew, that light and dark are partners, not enemies? Tell me in the comments which version you carry. This is Legends Reborn. If the old stories still breathe, it's because we breathe them. As long as spring follows winter, Persephone will rise again, carrying the quiet, fierce promise that no darkness lasts forever.